Paul, I need to have a word with you about your job performance. Paul, I heard that you don't follow up with all of your prospects. Is this true?
Yes. Why do you ask?
Paul, you need to follow up with every prospect that you quote.
Thanks, Jim, for that insightful tip, but I'm too busy writing more business than anyone else in the company to waste time with non-buyers. In fact, before I quote my prospects, I promise them that I will not follow up with them. That's how I'm able to get so many people to allow me to quote their business.
But why would you waste the opportunity to try to sell to these people once you have gone to the trouble to get all their info and give them a quote? Don't you know that you are losing sales by not calling them back?
Well, Jim, you make a good point, and I'd probably believe you if it was not for the fact that my sales and my income improved tremendously as soon as I started focusing all of my attention only on predisposed buyers.
But how can you know who is a predisposed buyer? Haven't I taught you that you're never supposed to prejudge your prospects? You are supposed to assume the sale and follow up with everyone.
Jim, if I'm not supposed to prejudge anyone, then why do you want me to treat every prospect as though they are buyers when most of them are not? Isn't that prejudging? And what's this assume the sale thing? Didn't you teach me that the first rule is to never assume? Didn't you tell me that assuming makes an ass out of you and me?
Paul, why are you being difficult? I only want to help you.
Jim, I appreciate your sentiment, but didn't you also teach me to never fix what isn't broke? Why aren't you instead helping the sales reps who are struggling and at risk of washing out? I'm sure their families would appreciate you helping them keep their jobs in this tough economy.
I've already told them all of my tips and tricks, but they are failing, so it would be a waste to invest any more of my valuable time with non-salespeople, don't you agree?
If they are truly non-salespeople, then yes, that would be a waste of time, just as it is a waste for me to spend any of my time with non-buyers. But I'm curious, if you told them all of your tips and tricks, and they are failing, then what is the value of the tips and tricks? Why not teach them the no objection selling method that I use?
No objection selling. I've never heard of it. How good could it be?
The fact that you haven't heard of it until now doesn't make it any less effective. No objection selling empowers average and even below average salespeople to achieve above average results without ever having to deal with sales objections. Don't you think you owe it to your people to give them every opportunity to succeed? Don't you think you owe it to the company to do everything possible to reduce the churn and maximize sales results?
You make a good point. But how can someone sell without overcoming objections? That sounds like a cop-out. A real sales professional has at least 50 rebuttals memorized and can instantly use them to overcome any objection.
Well, am I any less of a sales professional just because I don't deal with objections? After all, I'm not paid per rebuttal, I'm paid per sale. And don't you think that acquiring the ability to sell without dealing with objections would help your new and struggling salespeople to quickly get their sales numbers up? Isn't that what you really want for your sales team?
That is exactly what I want. But how can you sell without overcoming objections? That's impossible.
And yet I do it every day. Jim, let me ask you a question. What exactly is an objection anyway?
An objection is when the prospect objects to something the salesperson does or says.
If the prospect is objecting to something the salesperson did or said, then by definition the salesperson must have done or said something the prospect found to be objectionable. Do you really believe that the best way to sell is to be objectionable to people? Isn't it possible that being objectionable is the reason the sales profession has such a bad reputation? Did it ever occur to you that if the salesperson stopped behaving in an objectionable way, then the prospect would not have anything to object to?
I never thought about it that way before. How can I learn more about no objection selling?
Just go to their website. And you there, watching us on YouTube, you should also check out the website at www.noobjectionselling.com. Why not go there now?